All right, good evening, everyone. I am Misty. This is Dinner on a Dime. Welcome back to my kitchen. We are going to get started with Monday night's dinner. So tonight's dinner revolves around two great ways to save money. Technically, three great ways to save money in your kitchen. So let's get started. We're going to talk about the three great ways I have for you to save money on your dinners at home, and then we're going to get started on cooking our meal. So number one, you've probably noticed a trend here in my videos. These stickers, okay? I do not buy meat unless I get it on meat markdown or an extremely good sale. So in this particular case, this is 100% grass-fed Angus ground beef, no antibiotics ever, pasture raised, 100% natural. You can't get much better than that, right? This one was $7.99 for a pound regularly. I got it 50% off. So look for those deals. Don't sleep on going through your meat area when you're in the store and just see what deals you can find. So I bought a few of those, just stuck them in the freezer. They're ready to go. Okay, number two is using up ingredients that you have around the house that are going to go bad. Let me grab one more thing to show you. Tonight's menu is walking tacos. It is something my son asked for, and it's a great way to use up ingredients around the house. We've got this partial bag of Doritos just hanging out that no one's eating. We crush these up. That's what we use for our walking tacos. Taco seasoning just hanging out. This sour cream was purchased for another meal. It is just hanging out, needs to be used. There's always cheese hanging out that needs to be used. For the ones that don't want walking tacos, we have a couple of burrito shells left. They are welcome to use that. They can make a big beefy burrito. We do have bean dip in the pantry. If someone wanted to add bean dip, they could. That's not the plan. I don't think that's gonna happen. Pretty sure most of us are gonna stick to the tacos, but if you've got stuff hanging out, use it. Find a creative way to use it instead of just tossing it in the trash, okay? It's gonna save you money in the long run to make sure we're using all these scraps of things instead of just letting them sit around the house. Now, the biggest and best money-saving tip for tonight is your ingredients need to stretch across more than one meal, okay? I don't like ingredients that I can't stretch across at least 3 meals. So what do I mean by that? Okay, these chips. They're great with sandwiches, right? On a pool day, everybody's hanging out outside, everybody likes these. You can have chips with hamburgers. You can turn it into walking tacos. There's lots of different things you can do with these. The tortillas, this is 2 tortillas that were left from when I made breakfast burritos the other day. You can turn these into grilled burritos. We do that a lot. Like dinner time burritos with beans and meat and cheese and all the goodness in them. You can turn them into quesadillas. You can turn them into lots of different things. The taco seasoning, I like to make my own because when I'm making it in a big, huge jar, it stretches across multiple meals. It equals multiple savings along the way. Okay, cheese, I like to buy the big bags when they're on sale. You've seen me use out of this size bag several times now. I only buy them when they're $5.99 because that breaks down to, I believe it's $1.27 if you're buying the small packs. That's a great deal because you're not using all of that per time. It's stretching that cost across multiple meals, okay? Sour cream, when I bought it, it was on sale. It's stretching across multiple meals. Things like your taco sauce. You're not gonna use all this taco sauce tonight. We're gonna use a few dashes of it. It's gonna stretch across multiple meals. Now you might be thinking, okay, but your pound of ground beef, right, is 1 meal. Correct, but I couldn't just make walking tacos out of this. I could make spaghetti, or I can make lasagna, or I can make hamburger helper, or I can make sloppy joes. You see where I'm going? There's lots of different things I can do with that 1 pound of hamburger meat. I'm not tied to one individual meal with it. The only thing I don't have out here on the counter right now is the lettuce. We still have lettuce from when I bought lettuce at Aldi the other day, so I will chop that up so that we can have lettuce in our walking tacos. I do also have, let's see if I can find it real quick. Yep, right here. This Texas Pete's, same type of thing. It's a hot sauce. It stretches across multiple meals, and that's what I like on my walking tacos. This isn't as spicy for kids, the Taco Bell mild sauce, but I like the Texas Pete. It's got a little more kick to it. All right, so that's the biggest tip. If you want to find ways to save money in the kitchen, make sure you have ingredients that either you can purpose for multiple different meals. So if you change your mind on it, you've still got a purpose for it, or that you can stretch across multiple different meals, okay? That's the biggest tip I can give you on how to save a lot of money besides doing those stock up deals. So I'm gonna get you moved around back over by the stove so that we can get started on making the base for our walking tacos, okay? So it is 5:16. My son's at karate. My daughter's in her room. She's doing some prep work for her big thing she's got coming up. I don't want to talk about it on the channel yet because I don't want to jinx it, and I want to wait until she has it officially done to make any sort of formal announcement here, because it is a big, huge deal, and I'm going to be so excited once it's official, but I don't want to do anything to jinx it or spoil it or anything. So, not going to tell you what it is yet. So I've just cut open my hamburger, gotta get it going on the stove. I already had the burner on so that it would get this pan heated up pretty quickly. Once I got it over here, get this taco meat started. It's really funny that my son decided he wanted walking tacos because earlier in the weekend he really wanted sheet pan nachos. So that was kind of the plan for the week, for as far as like a Mexican food dish, was to do sheet pan nachos. But then he said yesterday, he was like, "Ooh, Mom, can we have those walkie tacos?" That's what he calls them, walkie tacos. So we're having walkie tacos tonight. And I do not buy individual packs of Doritos to make them in the bag. We just crunch the Doritos up in a bowl and we make our taco salad in a bowl, basically, or our walking taco in a bowl. My son has really gotten into eating salad this summer. It's kind of hilarious because it's not something I've asked him to do. He just asked me to start doing it. And so we're never going to complain, right, when a 10-year-old decides that he wants to start eating more salad and more healthy. So he's eating a lot of apples and bananas and salad and things like that. He did call me at work today. He asked if he could have an apple cinnamon bar. I said, sure. And then he was like, what snacks do we have here? We don't have any snacks. I said, what are you talking about? I was like, you have pudding in the fridge, you have fruit snacks in the pantry. He had forgot all about those things because he just took it upon himself that he wanted to eat better. And so I think that's really cute that he is trying to eat healthier. I think that's great. Not as much processed junk. We could all stand to not eat as much processed junk, that's for sure. All right. So today I was actually in a meeting all day at work pretty much. Meeting started at 9 o'clock this morning and went to 3 o'clock this afternoon. I actually worked 2 hours in the office before that on other tasks, and then worked a little bit after that meeting. But it was a long day, but it was a good day. The coffee in the morning got me through the long day, that's for sure. This is the longest part of cooking this meal, you guys, is getting the taco meat ready. And I will say, this is one of the reasons that I don't always like to just bring home ground beef and just throw it into the freezer as it is. I like to brown it up in advance, and I like to go ahead and season it in advance and then freeze it, because it makes meal prep so much quicker and so much easier. But I also know that, you know, not everybody wants to see me pull out a package of pre-prepped stuff every night and throw it in the oven. I know you guys want to come along for the fun and see the cooking process. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make meals together on this channel. So I am going to grab a strainer. Sometimes I don't have to strain this grass-fed organic meat. It doesn't get as fatty, but it's got quite a bit in there today. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a strainer so we can get that off of there. Grab a plate behind you. There we go. So I do recommend that you learn how to make your own mixes for things where it's feasible and where it's possible. So I do have my own taco mix over here right now, taco seasoning mix, instead of doing the packets. But I do have packets as a backup for times that it is priced a little too high to make my own mix. I think I'm good on ingredients right now to make a second batch of my homemade taco seasoning. And, but like I said, when I can find a great deal on it, I'll still stock up on it. So if it's the 10, trying to think exactly what it was. Tom Thumb had it on sale there for a while where you could get 10 for $5. So that made it 50 cents a packet for the name brand packets. I did stock up on it during that time, but those are just for backup for times where I'm just like, oh my gosh, the price of this spice has gone sky high and I just don't want to make my own mix because the price is not going to work out as well. But what I'll do is I actually go buy those spices either at Winco or at Central Market, because you can buy them in the bulk section where you just take out as much as you want and put it in your own bags and weigh it, and it works out a lot cheaper doing it that way than buying bottles of spices at the store. So instead of getting a small container of like cumin, I might buy a big bag of cumin at my Central Market, and that makes it a lot cheaper. So move you back over here where you can kind of see the process with the taco sauce, or the taco seasoning, I mean, and then we'll go back over to the stove. I'm just throwing that plate away that I drained the grease onto. And I'm gonna get my scissors, wipe down real quick with a Clorox wipe and paper towel, just in case anything got onto them from the opening the meat. So taco seasoning, again, I just marked the jar with how much would be equivalent to a packet. So about 3 tablespoons is equivalent to 1 pack of your seasoning packets. So I'm just going to loosen up any of this that's kind of stuck around the bottom. And then I'm gonna measure out 1, 2, and 3. So you can see it's definitely time for me to restock my own taco seasoning. So we'll get that done maybe tonight, who knows, maybe it'll be over the weekend. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm not perfect, I'm not always on the ball that quickly. So I'm just gonna go over here and add the water. I don't measure my water anymore for taco seasoning because I know about how much I'm gonna put in. And if it's not enough, I'll add more. If it's too much, I'll cook it down until it is like I want it to be. This is looking pretty close. I bet if you measured this out, I'd have it spot on. My mom is always impressed when she comes over, because if it's something that I'm guessing at, she'll be like, well, guess, but put it in this bowl and then let's measure it and see how close you are. And she's always impressed how close I come. But when you're cooking all the time, you get like that. You don't need to measure everything because you start to just eyeball it. You start to be like, yep, that looks about right to me. So you can see, if you're used to making taco seasoning, that looks pretty darn close, doesn't it? All right, so I've already turned the burner down. We're gonna get that starting to heat through and doing its thing. When it's time to eat, these will be the first thing that goes in the bowl. All we do is take as many Doritos as that person wants. We crunch them into little pieces and we put them in the bottom of the bowl. The next thing we will do is the taco meat. We'll put the taco meat in the bowl, just however much taco meat that person wants. This is a fully customizable meal. So however much of each ingredient your kid wants It's easy to do. You don't have to do this with nacho cheese Doritos. I have seen it done with Cool Ranch Doritos. I have seen it done with Fritos. I've seen it done with tortilla chips. Whatever kind of chips you have, I have Doritos hanging out. And for some reason, let me show you. For some reason, my kids felt the need to open not one, but 2 bags of Doritos because it's summer and why not? So definitely gonna finish using this one. Hopefully use up some of this, okay? So then once you've got that in there, we will put lettuce for probably myself and my son. I don't know, my daughter likes lettuce, but I don't know if she'll put it in her walking taco or not. I will be the only one that has sour cream in mine. I like to mix it in with the meat. Delicious. Then we will drizzle the sauce of your choice. I will be Texas Pete. My son will be Taco Bell. My daughter will be to be determined. We'll put the cheese on top and then you just eat it. It's super easy. So bring you back around so you can see all I am doing right now is oops, sorry, I knocked you around on a stool that my son has over there. So all I'm doing, I've turned my burner down from high to about a 2 because I just want this meat to simmer in the juice here, the taco seasoning, until it's absorbed a lot of that flavor, because we want it to be tasty. We want it to be delicious. Another thing I'll say about making your own taco seasoning versus buying these store-bought packs, I get really bad heartburn with certain store-bought packs. The McCormick ones don't really do it to me, but like the Walmart ones in particular really get me. They give me a lot of heartburn when I use those. And so this that I make at home, literally just a recipe off the internet, mix everything together, shake it up real well. I have never had heartburn with the homemade taco sauce, not once, or taco seasoning, sorry, not taco sauce. And I had got to where I wouldn't eat tacos with my family anymore because I always had such bad heartburn from it. So I really like making my own because my body just seems to react better to it for some reason. So, and as much as I love taking Nexium, I don't really like the heartburn that goes with it. I like the relief I get from the Nexium, but not the heartburn I got from the food to begin with. All right, so what I'm gonna do is stop here. I'm gonna stop recording. I am going to go chop lettuce. I'm gonna get everything ready. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you how we assemble a walking taco or a taco bowl, whatever you wanna call it in my house. And that's what's gonna be for dinner tonight. Now, you could take this even further if you wanted to. This is a relatively cheap meal. Again, the ground beef was 50% off. The taco seasoning I made myself. It splits across so many meals that it makes the cost absolutely minimal, especially when you go somewhere where you can buy those seasonings the way that I do from like a Winco or a Central Market. The cheese breaks down to less than $1 because we're not even using a whole, what would be a 6 to 8 ounce package. The sauces, you're probably looking at like 50 cents per sauce tops. Sour cream, about 50 cents. The chips we pay $1.77 a bag for, and we only buy it when it's the get it for $1.99 or less when you buy 4. This last time we got them for $1.77. We won't even use a half a bag of chips. If we use those other tortillas, cool. That really didn't come out of our budget because that was breakfast burritos I made for a car club event. So the 2 tortillas, that would just be literally using something that's going to go in the trash otherwise. The lettuce was $2.29 for a 4-pack at Aldi. We have used 1 for salads. We will use maybe a 4th of one tonight for the walking tacos. So it's a very low cost meal and it's such a delicious meal. It's such a filling meal. If you wanted, you could add canned corn. So if I added canned corn, that would be 50 cents. I could add a can of like ranch style beans. That would be about $1. I could add a can of pinto beans. That would be about 50 cents. I could add a can of refried beans, which would be about 50 cents. So there's all sorts of things you could add to this, customize it, make it as unique to your family as you want to. This is just how we typically do it. So you can really make this your own, and you can make it your own for well under $10, and you can feed a family of 4. And what's even better is I promise you, because we do this every time, there's gonna be leftovers of this, just like there's leftovers of everything. Now, last night we had the 3 baked potatoes left over, but we had 0 chicken left over. I cooked chicken for 7, okay? But it was so good that we ended up with none of the chicken left. So that's okay. I will take it. The corn that you saw in the picture from last night's video, actually that was a 0 cost thing. That was actually brought home by my parents from a barbecue place. We just heated it up and ate it with our meal. And then those pickles were like $1.49. I think my mom bought those at Tom Thumb. They were buffalo dill pickles. So they were a little bit spicy, a spicy dill pickle. So we threw those on the plate as well because we wanted to do a taste test and see if we liked buffalo pickles or not. So we just threw all of that together and made one big meal out of it. So I'm gonna stop the video here, go prep some lettuce, then we'll come back and we'll start assembling our walking tacos. All right, y'all, I'm back. So our taco meat has set long enough. I'm gonna get this lettuce chopped up and then we are going to get to working on our walking tacos. I just cut out the core at the bottom of the little baby head of lettuce, and then all I do is just a rough chop on it. Nothing fancy, just trying not to have big, huge pieces of lettuce, but also don't need it chopped super fine. Whatever we don't use tonight, my son will use tomorrow in his salads, so not worried about using that up. So you can see I just rough chop that, done. Like, let's see, I've been on record 42 seconds, so it doesn't take very long to do that. My daughter is going to go ahead and do the burrito option, so she'll have a tortilla with meat, cheese, and I think she might have some lettuce. I'll have to ask her if she wants lettuce on hers or not. I didn't think to ask her before she went to her room because I gave her the choice. Do you want to stay in here and record, or do you want to go to your room? She went to her room. So, all right. So what do we do with our chips? This is super easy, super simple. If you've never made walking tacos like this, all I'm gonna do is pull them out and crush them up in the bowl. And I'm just gonna do that until I have as many chips in the bottom of my bowl as I want. And then I'll move on to the next step. I like to do this with the gloves on because it's not Cheeto dust, right? But it's basically the same thing as Cheeto dust. It'll make my fingers nice and orange. You can see on the glove there, nice and orange. But there you go, just broken up chips. So normally when you do a walking taco, you just basically break it up in the bag. But since I don't do the individual bags, we just break it up in the bowl. Nothing fancy there. All right, next up is gonna be the taco meat, which I still have over on the stove. So I'm just gonna go over here and put my taco meat on. I don't require a ton of meat in mine. Axton and Amber will eat way more meat than I will, but there's the meat I'm gonna have on mine. Then I'm going to go ahead and add my hot sauce, sprinkle across it. I'm going to go ahead and add my cheese. This is not cheese, my sour cream. So I like a dollop of sour cream on mine. Not a ton, just a little bit. And then I like to just kind of stir that all up. Oops, and knock some of it off in the floor. That was my bad. I got a little overzealous with my scooping there. This is mine, this is my bowl. This spoon's not going in anything else, so I can like lick the spoon or lick my finger because it's literally not going to go in anybody else's food. But don't do that if you're going to be sharing it with anybody. I am not going to get out silverware for mine. I'll just use the plastic spoon that I used to get the dollop of sour cream out. And I'll go throw this chip away that I threw on the floor by accident. I'm going to grab some of this lettuce and mix it in to my bowl because I do like the lettuce in mine. Not a big fan of tomatoes. You'll see me cook with tomatoes, but I'm not a big fan of just eating raw tomato and anything. So it's the sliminess, the texture of it is off for me. And I am kind of a texture eater in some ways. So putting some cheese on top. And there you go, walking taco in a bowl. That is what I am having for dinner tonight. I will make one for Axton when he gets home this evening. He is at his karate class that he's at till 7:30. So when he gets home, he'll be hungry. He'll definitely be ready to eat. My husband is on his way home, but I don't know if he will eat here. If he and his coworker that he's traveling with will stop somewhere. I don't know what their plan is for dinner. He said they'd be home around 7:30 as well. So I don't know if his coworker's gonna spend the night tonight. He spent the night before they left. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. So just play it by ear. That's all you really need to do, is just play it by ear. Oh, I shouldn't have put the lettuce up till I asked Amber what she wanted on her burrito, but that's okay. All right, so all I'm doing is putting sour cream up, putting hot sauce up, and I am going to stop recording there for tonight. I am going to go see what my daughter wants on her burrito, and that is dinner for Monday night. So again, walking tacos and burritos, using up what we have and making sure that we are not throwing things into the garbage. So I will see you guys tomorrow night for dinner. Bye.